welcome to the oddest little podcast on the internet. We are the Odd Pod. I'm Stacy Kruger. Who are you guys?
I am casually challenged.
The one and only Rad Hazard 1.
I am Robo Robbie.
Robo Robbie. Have you been? Did you replace the proper Robbie?
Maybe.
He's like, I do everything better,
time,
including in bed.
I have over 3,000 uses for the word penis.
In bed.
God damn it.
I come with 800 different attachments.
Really?
Well, if you guys, excuse me, I need to go write some fanfic about Robbie Bot now. How the hell are you guys doing today? It's good to see you guys. I'll at least hear you guys since this is internet voice. How are you guys doing? It's good to hear from you guys.
I can see you guys.
Son of a bitch. I knew I forgot to turn off the camera. But how is it's Father's Day today, if any of you guys celebrate that. How was your Father's Day?
Pretty good. I ate a lot of food and drank a lot of beer, and I'm a happy camper.
Are you sufficiently buzzed for the podcast? Is that what you're saying?
I am. I could always be more buzzed, but I am sufficiently buzzed currently.
So what you're saying is we've had Robbie before. Now we're going to have Robbie uncut and uncensored. All the penis jokes all the time.
So nothing's changed.
Exactly.
Robbie Gone Wild, a.k.a. just Robbie.
Are any of you guys... go ahead.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm always drunk when we do this.
He's like...
That's the only way I can stand you guys.
Jesus Christ. You can tell he's been drinking. He's getting truthful. Christ. He's like, guys, I can't handle you fucking assholes. I drink at least 3 gallons of Jaeger before every show. That's why I sound British. I stumble over my word. But yeah, so you had a good one. Rad, did you do anything?
I woke up. I exist today.
My father could thank me. My father could thank me by existing today. All right, I don't celebrate holidays, so I woke up and I got yelled at by my children for being alive. So there we go. That's what my Father's Day was. I woke up, my children fighting. I walked out, and they yelled at me for existing. So that was my Father's Day gift. I think it was a pretty standard, run-of-the-mill, everyday gift for me. I can't remember the last time I actually celebrated this shit. It's just like, all right, fathers, congratulations, you fucked. All right, how's that feel?
Didn't we
Your
mention
penis
this?
functions.
Didn't we mention this earlier? Mother's Day, you go out for dinner. You go take your mom and go do stuff. Father's Day, I'm asleep in.
Right? Like, honestly, I don't celebrate any holidays, period. So Mother's Day is just one of those days where I wake up and go do work. You know, well, actually, we skipped that one because you crazy bastards decided to go celebrate things with your mom. But, you know, it's just Father's Day. Who gives a flying fuck? You know what I mean? I think it's just funny. Mother's Day, the world stops. Father's Day, that guy exists. You know?
The best thing to do on Mother's Day is to play Isaac and kill Mom.
See, there you go. I completely agree. My favorite way to celebrate Father's Day, though, by far, is to look it out and going, look, you're made of my cum, child. How does that feel? And then they start crying, and I walk away farting. You know, it's just the best way to celebrate it. But I do have a story. Since it's Father's Day, Daddy's going to tell a story. How does this sound, guys?
Right, let's all huddle all around Papa Stacy's big book of stories.
Papa Stacy. I can already envision all of you guys. I'm sitting in a rocking chair, beer down to the floor. You're sitting there huddled up with your chocolate, your fucking hot cocoa and blanket going, Daddy, Stacy, please, tell another story. So today's story, folks, is about how my son, I think, is channeling the inner me a little too much without me realizing it, and is doing everything he can to piss off his sister. So my oldest, which is my daughter, is starting to get in, has kind of gotten into makeup for a while now. Well, she's getting serious about the makeup. This is a serious deal now. Well, I think somehow when I came, he somehow took my annoyingness and need to piss off everyone around him for his own amusement, and that kind of went through my cum into him somehow. Because this boy did the same exact thing I did to his mom, my ex-wife. Eyeliner pencils? They're really expensive, apparently.
Yeah, I know that.
So I love to piss off his mom by using him to write notes in the living room. So I sit there, get ready to do something. I have to write myself a notes. There I am with her fucking eyeliner pencil, right? You son of a bitch, Stacy, how expensive is writing notes. So Mr. Miles decided it'd be a great idea, my youngest, to take his sisters and doodle a little drawing in the fucking bathroom on the sink with it and then throw it on the floor. Sister walks in. What are you doing? I didn't do it. Why he has eyeliner all over his hands from it? All over his hands. And you could hear the pencil drop as she walks in too. It's like, kid, you're not fooling anyone. But good for you. You took after daddy. Cheers.
Stacy, I think the big moral of the story is teach your kids to lie better.
Dude, he is so bad at lying. He really is. I'm like, honey, you need to learn from daddy how to properly lie because you just, like, mouthful of cookies. I wasn't eating cookies. No, you weren't at all. No. He still.
Stacy.
Yeah.
Stacy, if he's going to be a little you need to train him. He could be the Robin to your Batman.
Exactly. He still hasn't got the concept that sound travels, though, guys. So he'll be like in the bathroom or in the kitchen doing some shit he's not supposed to. You walk in from hearing it and bust him. Like, what are you doing? Nothing. And the sound keeps continuing. You're like, oh, kid. Oh, God. You don't know what's going on. I love you because you're so cute. But just learn to lie better.
Well, that's why we love our children, because they're cute. If they were ugly, we'd just eat them.
I can't say you're wrong. I think I would have ate them already if they weren't cute. Yeah.
Life lessons according to the Odd Pod.
Well,
Please do not take our advice.
Just so you know, you guys are missing out. The cute ones are the tastiest.
You Brits and your weird habits.
So that would explain it, because I've been an ugly little bastard my entire life. It was just because I was just nice enough to my parents to live. That would explain it. Okay. Life lessons from Stacy. If you're an ugly bastard, be just nice enough to live. All right. So we should probably actually get into nerdism and geekdom at some point here. So E3 happened, guys. Can I just get a one-word review from everyone? Casual. What was your one-word review of E3?
Meh.
Rad? Robbie?
They stole my words.
My one-word review? I know it's a sound, but it's technically a word because it takes a word to make the sound. Now, I think it's like PFFFFT. Right?
Actually, no, it's like PBTPTBBTB. I don't know.
God damn it. But seriously, E3 was just this time around. It was like the E3 of, look, we have DLC. Look, we have games that we've already put out, but it's on a new system. Look, it's shit you don't care about. Look, it's overpriced crap. I mean, okay,
You forgot, look, here's what we showed you last E3.
Right?
And look, here's an exclusive that isn't really an exclusive because it's also coming out on PC and
it's multi-plat
and on other consoles, but it's sort of exclusive. I think the E3 people, like all the developers and publishers, they need a dictionary and they need somebody to point out what the word exclusive means.
I could be wrong, but weren't you bitching about this last podcast?
Probably.
As you would say, this is a hot topic issue for you or a hot button issue for you?
Well, I mean, it's silly, like Microsoft was a huge, like everything they showed on their press conference was world exclusive, another exclusive. And maybe one thing was actually exclusive to the Xbox One.
Oh, Microsoft just...
Is it exclusive to the Xbox One, Xbox One S, or Xbox One X?
Wait, there's a One X now?
Don't you mean the XX Xbox XX1 XXX.
So
That's all I could think of when they announced that. Was it's like somebody who couldn't figure out a name, and so they just added a bunch of X's all over.
Well, it actually comes full circle.
Excuse me.
The official abbreviation for Xbox One is XBO. So does that mean the official acronym is now XBOX?
Oh,
Well,
God.
I wanted them to release an Xbox One R so that we could say X boner.
But okay, I'm not gonna lie, I really tuned out heavy during Microsoft's because I just kind of gave up. I didn't hear about this until just the second. There's gonna be an Xbox One X.
Yeah, that's what the Scorpio was.
But I thought that was the S.
It's going to be true 4K.
Well, and that's the confusing part is why are they releasing an Xbox One S and an Xbox One X and an Xbox One and like they're doing the reason Rad came on was to talk about Sega when we first started.
And
we
then
eventually got around to it.
Yeah, and he's kind of stuck around after that.
I would say Xbox seems to be doing the exact same thing Sega did when they shot themselves in the foot. They're releasing like 6 new systems that are kind of the same and not really
to be perfectly
new.
Fair, the Xbox One S is already out. It's kind of like the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. You know, that's how those two compare. You know, Xbox, the Xbone and the Xbox One S.
Okay.
Now the X, we're not really sure where that fits because
Your trash can. It fits in there.
I'm sure you'll have a lot of people.
I don't know. My trash can's pretty small.
I'm sure you'll have a lot of people saying, "I want the Xbox One X," and the GameStop employee or whatever will hear S.
Oh yeah, that also fucking. Sorry, go on.
Well, like,
And
you're
also
a Game
the-
Store employee, so I'm sure you feel this one.
Yeah.
And the Xbox One S is already down at $250. The Xbox One X will be $400. Guess which one you're more likely to buy, considering the X has slightly better stats than the S does.
Oh.
Yeah. Also, this harkens to something that I've seen. Well, I've seen dozens of people say this, but imagine, like, because the Xbox One X comes out around November or sometime, just before Christmas. Imagine if you're like a tired parent, your little kid wants, I want an Xbox One X, and you go to the game store or wherever it is you buy consoles from, and you're just tired and you don't give a shit, and you say, "Hey, can I get an Xbox One XS?" And the game employee goes, "Do you mean X or S?" I don't know. What's the difference? He goes, "One's cheaper." I go, "Okay, I guess I'll get the S then." Sure.
I'll get the cheaper one. Here's the thing I don't understand is who are they marketing these things to at this point? Because like you said, the people that are buying most of the consoles are parents because they're the ones that can afford them and stuff like that. So they're not going to be paying attention to the Xbox One X or S or any of that. They're just going to say, my kid wants a game.
Yeah.
Like for years when you hear an old person talk about a gaming system and they say, "Oh, have you played that new game Nintendo?"
You wouldn't believe how many times I hear that.
So I don't understand who they're marketing all this stuff to. Like,
Yeah, I get parents coming in with lists saying, "Do you have this video game?" Like, yeah, sure.
Well, it's also a part of. Is Xbox One X going to have its own games or not? There's downsides to both. If it has its own games, suddenly you fragmented your consumer base.
right? Like I said, it's what Sega did. You know, it's the 32X.
I
all
was
over
just
again.
about to point that out, man. And you know what? Here's the best part. The whole thing about pointing out the guy that goes to the game store looking for the system and he buys the wrong one. I can already see the temper tantrums happening where the kid decides to smash it from his parents on Christmas Day. We've all seen the YouTube videos. Can we not see this happening right now?
Oh yeah, a spoiled brat definitely doing that.
This is also similar to the situation Nintendo had when they came out with the Wii U, the previous system to the Switch.
Yes.
Confusion.
Yes, is the previous one was called Wii? Is this like an add-on for it or something?
See, and this is where some people may not think that the PlayStation naming conventions are very fun. 1, 2, 3, 4. But
It's
at
straightforward
least
and
you know what you're getting.
Exactly, man. At least you're not sitting there going, well, is it going to be this? Is it going to be an add-on? What the hell is going on? This doesn't make sense. Is it an S? Is it an X? It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, fuck me. I guess it's a new generation. Well,
And, and also, if it's a variation on it, PS3, PS3 Slim.
Exactly. PS4. PS4 Pro. I still think the Pro thing was dumb, but that's just because I'm a
But
stubborn asshole.
it's still very clear what generation it's a part of.
Exactly, dude. So,
Even though I have a PS4, I still think the idea that PS4s all look like different forms of sandwich is really silly. So,
yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, you're right. So, you want to know what's bad?
I want them to release a baguette version for the PS4.
You know what's sad, guys? To this day, I'm still not sure about the Wii and Wii U. I'm so off the rails with Nintendo shit. I haven't given a flying fuck. Is it its standalone console?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, it is.
Well, I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. And when I hear Wii U, instantly I think of add-on.
Trust me, it took me like a year to understand that it was an all-new console.
You want to know how slowpoke I am for Nintendo? Just now, I'm looking into buying a 3DS.
Well,
I thought about buying a 3DS. Sorry, I thought about buying a 3DS, but I thought the only thing I'd really play on it was Pokemon.
That's what
I would say don't buy a 3DS. Wait until the Switch becomes available again and goes down in price, and buy one of those instead.
I am going to buy a Switch. Definitely, my next console is going to be a Switch.
The Switch doesn't look very nice. There's just something about it that just doesn't look nice. It looks cheap.
Well, that may be why it hasn't been available for months, because it had some issues with the screen, like bending and stuff like that.
And the dock not fitting the screen properly.
Yeah, so they may have actually stopped production to fix that problem.
Okay.
And then they'll start releasing them again, which... kind of a shame that they had that problem, because that's a hot commodity right now, and if you can get one, they would be making money. Too bad.
Yeah, I mean they're still available where I work from the first time they released them, because people just can't afford where I live. They're still like 300 to 400 something.
Speaking of the Switch, they have the Switch has an online component. It's $20 a year, but it's like Netflix for old Nintendo games.
Yes, I saw that. That's not terrible. I don't really mind that at all, honestly.
Yeah, and it's not per month. You get these games for this amount a month. Sega Channel style, where you get these 30 games for these 30 days, and then next 30 days you get a whole new set of games. No, this is like Netflix. The old games that are there, you can play them forever as long as you pay the $20 a year thing.
Once again, you guys know me, though. I like a hard disc. I like something hard that that I know I can play. I can put down for 10, 15 years, come back 10, 15 years later, like, oh, look, I still own this. I can do it now. I can play it again and always have it. Where when it comes to that, it's like, well, you're never going to own it again. But, of course, here's the thing. This is the one thing you do have to remember. Most people are going to play a game once, and that's it. Very few games have hardcore replayability besides like a nostalgic walk back through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, for the most part, I would say that's going to work out great for people,
Oh, yeah, definitely. Do we know what, how far it goes back? Is it just like NES, or is it like SNES and 64 games?
I think it's NES and Super NES for now. GameCube, they're going all the way up to GameCube.
No
so
shit.
that,
I was
That
going to
is
say
in
you
the
would
future.
think they would put out the same stuff that they did for the virtual console at the very least.
That's the other bit of it. Is this their new virtual console, or are they still going to be two separate things? We're not really sure at this point. And typical Nintendo doesn't give you a lot of information to go off of.
God forbid. You know?
Yeah.
Well, back to the E3 stuff. Well, I guess we're still technically on E3. Bethesda had a bit of a lackluster appearance this year.
To say the least.
It depends on your perspective, but yes.
Okay, so what do we get? We got fucking... Here's a title we've been pumping out for years now, but in VR. So the small section of people who actually give a shit enough to buy VR have it. Can get it now.
Okay, so yeah. Oh, what was it? Doom and Fallout, right?
I thought it was
Fallout
Skyrim.
4. No,
I thought it was Fallout
fuck
and
me.
Skyrim.
Yes, it's
maybe it was
Fallout
Skyrim
Doom.
and
Fallout
Fallout.
Doom,
It was. So whatever the case.
My apologies.
First of all, Fallout 4 is not the best game ever because the story is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
The mechanics were great, but the story was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Second, have we I'm not really into VR. But one of the things I always hear about VR is that any kind of movement causes like motion sickness.
Yeah,
Like
it's interesting.
moving forward or whatever. And so most games fix that by having this weird almost click style movement where it's like playing an old click based adventure game like Myst where you click on the thing and it moves you forward automatically to a certain place. Have we fixed that?
See, only VR experience I've ever had was the cheap Samsung with the little click-on thing on your face, and even that got me motion sickness. But of course, I'm terrible with that type of stuff where I have to have my FOV out at like 180, or something. Well, that's a bit excessive, but you catch what I'm trying to say. I'm terrible with motion sickness, so maybe I'm not the best person to ask, but I haven't seen VR yet that didn't make me want to hurl all over the person next to me. Well, at least in game. Of course, it turns out to be our girlfriend. Then you don't get laid that night. There's puke all over me, asshole. Let's see.
Anyway,
Next up was so we got the VR out of the way. The Skyrim on the Switch, which one we already knew was coming because it was on the fucking video for Nintendo itself, for the Nintendo Switch promo itself.
Yeah, is that the remastered version or is that the previous Skyrim?
No idea.
as far as I know, it's not going to be like a 4K version, but it is theoretically going to be like the most recent version, with whatever.
Okay.
Here's the thing, though. Did anybody notice how many of the press conferences at E3 overall were just like showing no gameplay, trailers and advertisements, and then saying, okay, moving on to the next game, here's another trailer or advertisement? Like, what happened to actually showing off, like, we have an actual game, here's gameplay?
That's kind of what I noticed too. It felt incredibly lackluster, insanely lackluster from all of them, not just Bethesda too. That's the worst part. What else did Bethesda put out that was worthwhile? Dishonored 2, which is going to be DLC, but not DLC, I guess. When I was watching,
I was confused.
Yeah, when I was watching the presentation, they made it sound like DLC, but I guess it's going to be standalone.
So it's like a spin-off?
Rad?
I still have no idea. Like, they didn't give us any information. They just showed they showed a trailer, and then at the end of the trailer, it said Dishonored, whatever whatever the title was, I don't remember. And then that was it. Like, what is it?
I mean, Rad, I remember you heard a little bit more about this than us.
Yes, it is based on Dishonored 2. It's a $30 standalone. It does not require Dishonored 2 to actually run and play, but it's not DLC because you can buy it by itself.
So it is like a spin-off story.
So yeah,
Kind of.
yeah. I just don't get that. And then they released another Wolfenstein thing. Wolfenstein 2. Well, I mean that's great and all, but what were we all wanting out of
fucking Elder Scrolls 6, man?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did they not announce?
Fucking Elder Scrolls 6. They even came out and said why that it was a bad idea and that they don't want to do it and that it's a good thing they're not going to do it and stuff like that. It's like, come on, man.
Well, apparently they mentioned that I don't know if it was the C3 or if it was previously, but apparently they're saying they're not going to announce another Elder Scrolls until they've got more new IPs.
Which they haven't had a new IP in forever.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you can't really count any of the id Software stuff because that's not a new IP. I mean, yes, technically it's new to Bethesda when they bought them out or merged or whatever they did.
But by no means is it new. No.
So let's take our track record here. We got Wolfenstein rehash, we got Doom rehash, we got Fallout rehash, Skyrim rehash. Oh, I'm sorry. They did announce one new thing that's not really new also, and that's their Elder Scrolls card game that nobody gives a crap about.
Yeah.
Fuck that thing. And also, let's not forget Elder Scrolls Online.
Yeah, the DLC that's already out.
Nobody gives a crap about.
Well, okay, it's not nobody. There is a section out there, but most are going, meh. It was.
I care about it, but it's already out. I can play it now if I want.
That's the thing.
Right.
That's exactly it, Robbie. That's kind of what we're trying to get to. Is always an overwhelming meh of going, well, yeah, it's already out, Bethesda. What's your fucking point? You know,
Yeah, I think, and leading into like, I guess if you care, EA's press conference was at least half sports, which I get that part of their thing is sports, but nothing they showed was new. I mean, yeah, it was a quote new game, but they've been making quote new games for all of their stuff for years, you know, and they just call it like Madden 16 and Madden 17 and Madden 18 and Madden 5 million, you know.
right?
We don't want to see that at E3. We want to see something new. Like, even if it is a sequel that is actually new. Like, for example, Ubisoft actually showed some stuff about Origin, Assassin's Creed Origin.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually kind of interesting because, we got to see that they're going somewhere new for the first time in a while. It's a much larger open world, which, by the way, they didn't show off at the actual press conference. It was after the press conference they actually showed gameplay, and it looks like it's one map this time, which if you've ever played previous Assassin's Creed, they've been open world, but it's always been like separate map sections for the open world. I don't even know how to explain that, but yeah, I don't know. We want new things, not already been there, done that.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Once again, it's just nothing exciting. The fact that they're essentially bringing back paid mods 2.0. And it's like with the Creation Club. And it's... to me, I have no problem with a mod creator getting paid and wanting to charge for his mods. I personally don't mind that. It's the way they're going about that bothers the shit out of me. And the question I have overall is the Nexus still going to be allowed to be open at that point? Are people who want to have their mods free still going to be allowed to have their mods free, or is it going to be forced to be through this system now where you have to pay for it no matter what? No questions were answered.
Yeah, I feel like it's like they aren't learning any lessons. Like Valve tried this with Skyrim.
Yep.
It was going to be their fledgling thing. People rebelled against it. They didn't just say, I don't think so. I mean, they got angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
What makes Bethesda think they can do any different? Like, I don't understand how they think, well, we're Bethesda. No?
Like, I'm looking at it, and once again, like, I don't know if you guys remember it, but the fucking internet exploded last time they announced it, when it was Valve and Bethesda together. Now that Bethesda's doing it alone, once again, the fucking internet is exploding. I mean, as of like I think it was 2 days ago, I got the screenshot of this, the Creation Club for PlayStation Skyrim Special Edition E3 announcement trailer on YouTube. Had 2,000 likes, 37,000 dislikes, and the comments were just fucking cancer, pure unadulterated cancer. The Steam threads are going nuts with people being pissed. It's the thing is, nobody is excited. It seems, okay, let me rephrase it. It seems like nobody is excited for this. It seems like nobody wants this. But of course, at the same time, you brought out a very decent argument for this, that sometimes it seems like the game user doesn't know what they want, and the video game producer doesn't listen and doesn't learn for what they do want when they do say what they want.
Well, yeah, game players, us,
Mm-hmm.
We know what we want, but we all want different things. That's kind of the real point. We each individual play, like I am an adamant person that more is better, bigger is better. I always want a bigger map with more stuff in it. Some people are the opposite of that, and as a developer, you have to take certain things and you have to sift through and figure out what you want, but developers don't learn the right lessons. Like, for example, an old game, I hate saying that because it makes me sound even older when I say the game, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It had a feature in it that allowed you to adjust your stats by doing some in-game minigames. Now, what happened was people complained that they had to do the minigame in order to adjust their stats, right? So in order to get fat, you had to eat the food. In order to get strong, you had to lift the weights. There was no, just natural way to do it or just a simple leveling mechanic. But the lesson that the game developers got from it was not, we don't want to do it this way. It was, we don't like this feature. And so in the next game, they just completely removed the feature entirely. And that's what game developers tend to do. They look at people saying, we don't like the way this works, and they take it as, we don't like it at all.
So more of a knee-jerk reaction of, oh shit, they rebelled, better back off, instead of going, well, let's learn a lesson from what happened.
And then there's the case of, this whole thing with the paid mod stuff, which is just completely ignoring what people said.
Well, let's face it, Bethesda's had a history of ignoring us. They probably always will. It's just how it works. Just like you point out that, once again, it knee-jerk reactions. It's always how it's going to be, no matter what you do. The game company's always going to have the knee-jerk and not pay attention to their end users. It's just how it works. One that kind of blew me away, and apparently somebody asked for it. I didn't know of anybody who asked for it, but fucking Atari is coming back, I guess. And anyone at all know anything about this?
I just heard about that.
This is the first time I've heard of it was today. And I'm like, what is... Who asked for this? Rad?
Not me.
Rad, did you ask for this?
I didn't know Atari was still a going concern.
Right, dude? Don't get me wrong. I love digging on my old 2600 and all that and hooking up and playing it. That's fun. That's a blast.
You old man.
You're goddamn right I am. I still have, I think that's the 5200. I still have mine. It barely works because it's a 5200, but goddamn, I still have that motherfucker. And it's a big enough brick to still throw at the kids. Kids!
So,
No,
so are they they're making a new console.
yes.
In theory, it's a new console.
Well, that's the thing.
Okay.
When I heard about it, I was like, okay, so it's going to be like, what was the last console they made? The Jaguar?
Yeah, the last one they failed at was the Jaguar.
So that's what I was thinking. Like, they're going to try to make a brand new console, new era, new technology, something that.
Are they just going to make a console, or are they going to try and genuinely compete?
Well, that's what I decided to dig in a little bit and try to figure out what's going on. And apparently, all it is. Do you remember the NES Classic? It's going to be that, but Atari Classic. So it's going to be 120 2600 games.
But
okay. I don't consider that even a console, really.
So here's the problem I have with that. Now, they're probably going to sell them, especially if they make it look like the original console, but it's going to be smaller because they can make it smaller nowadays. My general problem with that is Atari games sucked.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't suck. They were great at the time. They were fun at the time because they had a huge imagination, but that was as far as you could go at the time. That's the difference.
They sucked. We just didn't know they sucked until gaming got better.
I disagree because they were fun. They still are fun to me.
No, they aren't.
I have. Yes, they are.
You have nostalgia for them.
I still play Asteroids on my computer to this day, dude.
Let me put it another way. I went back and decided to try and play a beloved game of mine, GoldenEye.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
Yeah,
the controls were terrible. It was slow. It had glitches everywhere. I shouldn't have gone back. Now you can say for nostalgia purposes that the games are going to make you happy. I'm not doubting that. Like looking back on some old games, I still have nostalgia for them. But I don't see this being a major seller. I see it being a niche product that a bunch of people are going to buy, much like the NES Classic, which was a big seller in terms of nostalgia. But beyond that, like nobody young is going to buy this and say, oh, this is fun. They're going to get it foisted upon them by their parents and say, I want you to experience these games. And they're going to go, what is this crap?
You're not wrong. You are not wrong about that, but I don't think it's all necessarily nostalgic because, like I said, I still play some of those games and I still enjoy them, like Asteroid, Space Invaders, I believe it was called.
Space Invaders.
Yeah, they were fun. I still get enjoyment out of them, and not necessarily just from nostalgia because they were just fun games because they were simplistic and you knew what you were playing them for. I don't play them expecting a first-person shooter with like great graphics. I expected just for a stupid little simple game that's fun. So I wouldn't necessarily. I disagree with you that they're crap, but I do agree that most people are going to buy this for nostalgia because there really is no other crowd for it. 1,000,000%. I will completely agree with that. Especially when, let's be blunt, you can get these fucking games online for free and there's nothing to stop you.
Right.
Because there's how many renamed versions of the same fucking game out there, and
half of them you can get, like especially old Atari games. Like there are games, for example, Grand Theft Auto franchise and some other franchises, like where you can play an Atari game in the game,
yeah.
Like you can go to an arcade inside the game and play an old Atari or NES game. So it feels a little, I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure they'll sell. You know, there's a nostalgia market out there.
All I got to say is, don't worry, guys. The fake wood paneling is back. It's coming back for sure. We can promise you. It just looks like crap. I'm sorry. I love playing some old Atari games, but I'm not excited for this console. I see nobody asking for it, and that's the biggest thing. Because at least with Nintendo, with the NES, there was more playability. There was still some recognition of the younger audience, you know, my kids, because they remember Dad playing, you know, Mario, and there's still some remnants of those games out.
Well, and I hate to hit on it again, but some of those NES games were actually still good. Like, you can go back and play the original Super Mario Brothers, and it still has solid base mechanics.
Yeah,
you know, and I'm sure there's a few Atari games that do have that, but for the most part, I don't know that people are going to like. I think Atari jumped on to this particular. Like, if Atari had put out whatever they're doing, their Atari Classic, let's call it, first before Nintendo, I think it would have been a bigger thing. Like, oh, nostalgia. But Nintendo not only has already got there first, but they're also releasing the Super Nintendo Classic, which is going to be the same thing. It's like 30 Super Nintendo games in a package that kind of looks like a Super Nintendo.
And people hack it to put about all 700 on there within 5 days.
Yep.
Right.
It's just, I can't. I feel like a douche nozzle, keep on harkening the same point and keep saying it. I probably sound like a fucking bastard for repeating myself over and over again. Just, I find zero excitement in this. I just don't think it's going to sell worth a shit. I completely disagree with you that the games are not fun and they're terrible games, but I just don't see a market for it.
I don't either. I think again, though, I think that the only market is going to be people that buy it because they're like my age, 40 plus, and they put it on a shelf. Like, they'll probably play it like a little bit, but then they'll quickly remember why they stopped playing old Atari games, and they'll just put it on a shelf, and it'll be a book stop.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to happen too. Well, since we're on the subject of old games, though, I'm a huge collector of games. Absolutely, I'm a huge collector of games and game memorabilia and stuff like that. It's just something I'm very passionate about. Apparently there's a discussion coming about restoring old games. All right, some people like to restore them or bring them back to their old quality, such as clean the circuits, make sure that everything's working. I don't see a problem with that. Replacing the battery, that's fine. One of the discussions was, should you replace the old label with the reproduction? Coming from me, the collector, don't touch that fucking label or else I'll cut your hand off. You know, it kills, one, it kills the value. Two, there's just something special about a worn-in label where you're like, yep, that's it. You know, because there are plenty of games out there that are not reproduction. The labels are still in mint condition. That skyrockets the value. If you just put a reproduction label on there, it's going to kind of go, well, fuck, you know?
Well, I think that gets into a whole weird question of collector market stuff. Like, for instance, toys. In general. So, first of all, collectors are kind of weirdly hypocritical about their collecting stuff. And what I mean by that is all collectors want mint in box, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, they want mint in box. But because of various things like weathering and production value and all sorts of other things, some products, no matter how good you take care of them, like you could have put that boxed thing in a vacuum sealed safe, and just the chemicals on the thing will degrade it. So, like for a toy collector, they want what is known as the patina. You know, they want the agedness of it. They don't want it to be replaced, but at the same time, they want it in mint condition. So where do video games fall in that? I mean, are they a toy or are they, well, art?
To me, they're art. To me, you don't ever alter them. You don't do anything. Like, once again, I'm okay with the cleaning it out, replace the battery, stuff like that. But to me, you never, ever replace the label. You don't change anything about it. Like, I have Final Fantasy 1 for the NES. I still have the maps. I still have the instruction manual. I still have the box. I still have everything about it. Sure, the box is a little weathered, but that adds wonderfulness to it to me. That adds the element of, like, look how rare this is. Look how wonderful it is, because I still have this box, even though it's been through hell and back. Not, well, as far as age goes, it's old as fuck, but I still have this wonderful box. Looks at that, it does have some, you know, what's the term? Dog earring on the box, where the lips are starting to, the lid is starting to roll over a bit. There's a term for it.
Yeah, that's dog ear. Yeah,
dog ear.
right.
Okay, yeah, thank you. But I don't mind that. I mean, sure, if I could have that box mint as fuck, I would love it. But there's just something cool about it to say, look, and that adds that element of going, wow, this motherfucker really is old. This is really cool find, you know? I could never bring myself to alter a case or alter a label or alter anything about it beyond cleaning it out or replacing the battery. That's it. Kind of like my Earthbound cart. I still have my Earthbound cart that there was a video store around my hometown here called Video Vision. And I would go there week after week after week to keep renting out Earthbound over and over and over again. And after renting it for about 6 months straight, I finally went, hey, can I just buy this? And
I was going to say, you probably paid for it like 3 times over, renting it that many times.
Mama Kruger was just like, shut him up and let him play it. But I just rented over and over and over again. I finally looked at him and was like, hey, can I just buy this? Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And me being the idiot I was, I didn't ask for the box, too. I should have, but I didn't. And I regret that so much to this day. But I went and bought this, and I bought it for like fucking $20 probably, because it was, you know, rented and stuff like that, and it was used. But to this day, I still have it, and I can still look at it, and there's still weathered marks on the label, but look at this awesome piece of fucking art from that I was able to keep and collect, and just wonderfulness. And it's just, that's like the shining fucking turd of my collection, you know?
Well, here's the question though. Like, obviously, anytime you reproduce something, it devalues it because it's a reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the real question. If somebody was a little bit shady about cleaning things up and stuff, and how can you tell? Like, if they do a good job,
that's the problem.
Can you even tell that it's been reproduced?
That is the number one problem, because on eBay, if you go to buy games off of eBay, they by law and by rules of eBay, they have to put reproduction card on there. But there's plenty of times that they don't. And then you pay $200-$300 for a cart and get it and find out, oh, wait, I got fucked. And sellers off in Neverland, impossible to track down, you're fucked. You know what I mean? So that's why when I think of, should we replace the labels? Hell no! Because then it's even harder to tell between the reproductions or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, okay, Robbie, since you work in a game store yourself, what's your views on this? What would your bosses feel about reproductions of the labels? Because you guys deal with older games too, not just modern ones, right?
Yeah, we've started taking like NES and SNES games in. honestly, I don't know if my bosses would give a shit.
Really?
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where, we don't get paid enough to really give a shit about that. We just buy them in and resell them. Because all the shit we sell is secondhand anyway, so if they didn't give a shit much about that, I don't know why they'd give a shit about it being a reproduction or not.
Really? See, I honestly thought the boss would be like, hey, we're paying this much for this game. It could possibly be a collector. Don't alter it because we want to have the full value from this product.
But it's more one of those situations of, we'll buy this from you cheap and then jack up the price ourselves.
True. Okay, good point. Very good point. Oh God, that hurts hearing that your boss wouldn't care. That really hurts, man.
Well, it's one of those. It's a corporate entity.
I thought yours was small business.
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, go ahead, Casual. I'm sorry, buddy.
I just said major franchise. They don't.
Okay, yeah. Because I could have swore you guys were. I thought yours was the small business that was owned by somebody.
Oh no, it's like a fucking. I mean, I don't know if it's outside the UK, but it's definitely all over the UK. Okay. The other day I bought in like 50 DVDs. We'd sell them for £50 altogether.
Mm-hmm.
We bought them in for like £3.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
I think you do better on Craigslist or just like sitting on the street corner. Hey, I'll give you a fucking pound. Give me a pound. You can have a fucking DVD. Jesus.
Yeah, you probably would. Yeah.
Jesus, man, that's just douchey. Well,
I know
it's business. I understand, but
I don't get paid enough to question the higher ups.
I don't get paid enough. Boss, why? Fuck you. Do it. Okay, I'm sorry. From one end of reproductions to another. G2A. Wow, good job, Stacy. All right, yeah. Apparently, it's a shitty game seller company. G2A. GTA, god damn it, Stacy, 5 has been out for quite a while now, right? There's the online version of it, blah, 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 blah.
What did it come out, like 2014, 15?
No, it came out before that.
The
original one came out in 2000.
Wasn't it 12?
12, I think.
GTA 5 has been out for 5 years.
And then they did the HD one, which honestly is actually kind of worth it because they did overhaul a bunch of stuff. They added the whole first-person perspective and stuff. But that came out in 2014, I think.
Okay,
whenever
sounds
it was
good.
released on PC.
Well, so people have been fiending for GTA, as I announced it correctly, 6 for quite a while now. Like I've heard a lot of people saying, we want a 6, we want a 6. Where the hell is 6? Well, apparently in people's want of 6, there's a shit ton of fake 6s popping up online on YouTube, and it's just fucking making millions upon millions of views.
Oh yeah, it's just like the Elder Scrolls or Fallout. They get the same shit there too.
Very true. Very true. It's just like, one, they're overly obviously fake. Like a guy, one video I remember was a guy running away from Best Buy saying, I stole 3 copies of GTA 6 and it was okay and they let me and here's how. And just some dumb, you knew it was fake. And all of them are overly, overreact, like, oh, look at this, dumb faces, and just being fucking stereotypical YouTubers, because YouTubers are so goddamn stereotypical nowadays. They really are. At least on the React ones. You know what I mean? We've all seen the, real reactions, true reactions, non-fake reactions, is people like jumping up and down their chairs going, oh, don't shut the fuck up. You could care less. But it's, you would think, who the fuck made GTA? What company was it? Rockstar. Thank you. You think Rockstar would be looking at this going, Jesus, why haven't we made 6 yet? They're making fake cases of this because they're so excited for it and people are latching onto it that hard. Why haven't they made it yet?
They're probably laughing.
Because they are making plenty of money off of Grand Theft Auto Online.
True. Very true.
There's no reason for that. I mean, Here's the other thing is Rockstar is not one of those companies that cows to anyone. The closest they've ever come to cowing to demands was putting an adults-only label on Grand Theft Auto San Andreas after it was revealed that you could still access the hot coffee mode. Which was ridiculous, but then they released another version where they actually removed the hot coffee mode, and so it was back to M for mature.
And no one ever bought that one. No, obviously.
Actually, no one bought the adults-only version because adults-only video games don't sell. Like, it's the same reason that, generally speaking, you don't see a line outside the porn theater or whatever.
Yeah.
People are not going to admit that they're going to buy something that is clearly porn. Therefore, once you hit that adults-only mark on the rating, people avoid it. You know, if they can get it on the internet, sure. But Grand Theft Auto 6 videos, Fallout 5 videos, Elder Scrolls 6 videos, I don't understand why people are still... I mean, I get it's a clickbait culture.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand why, because it's fake. I mean, unless you hear the news actually from the company, these are all just faked trailers and baloney that I don't get it.
Once again, I look at it and I go, well, obviously it's fucking fake. Anybody with a half a brain cell is going to realize it's fake. But unfortunately, there's far too many people, once again, like you said, clickbait, who'll go, oh my God, I can't believe it. And then they get fucked in the end.
I mean, if GTA 6 had come out or been released in any way, shape, or form, it would be everywhere. It wouldn't be like, oh, this one guy in this corner of YouTube got the exclusive somehow somewhere.
Yeah, he has 32 subscribers. How the fuck did he pull this off? Wow, it's so good. No, you dumb shits. Oh, I hate stupid people, and I hate people on YouTube. All right. I'm waiting to hear Undead listen to this one.
Don't forget to follow, subscribe, and like our videos.
Okay, there's just a subsection of people I hate on YouTube. Is that better? I'm waiting for Undead to make our YouTube video going, God damn it, Stacy, stop. You're trying to tank us.
Well, I'm going to end my thoughts on GTA 6, fake GTA 6 with a quote from the latest Doctor Who. It's a funny thing about hope. It's incredibly hard to resist.
Yeah, you're not wrong. One thing I wanted to talk about, though, guys, I should have talked about this during the reproduction, and I should have thought about it, but you guys know how I'm a freak for Earthbound, right? Absolute fanatic for it. They found a Earthbound prototype for the NES in a garage sale in Portland just a little bit ago. This was found. This is insanely rare. Stupid rare how incredibly rare this game is. Like, I can't emphasize enough about how rare this cart is. It was found at a fucking garage sale. Now, to emphasize back on the reproduction relabeled part, this never actually had a true label. This never had an official label. Could you imagine if someone decided to say, well, I'm just going to put a reproduction Earthbound label on this thing, and how bad it would tank any value it had if they took off the Sharpie that was written on it that said Earthbound, or the masking tape that said Earthbound on it? Imagine if they took that off and put that back on there. How bad that would destroy the value of this thing.
I can't even imagine.
So that's why, once again, we're going back to old topic. I apologize, but just looking at this beautiful card, I just kind of start to cry like, no, don't, Jesus, what the hell are you doing? And actually, Rad, this was a game you were talking about, I want to say 2 or 3 podcasts ago, because you were you're a fan of the Hitman series and you're wondering what the hell they're going to do because they're getting ready to cut it loose, right?
No.
I'm the person.
Oh, is that you? I'm sorry, Casual.
The fan, but I don't know. So not everybody likes Hitman. I think we might have even discussed this in the last podcast. It's always been kind of a niche market game. Mostly because nobody really knows what it is, because they never have marketed the game properly. Some people are under the impression it's like just kind of a cheesy, generic, third-person action game because it was made by the same people that did Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are under the impression that it's an open-world game. Other people think that it's this. Other people think that it's that. But nobody actually plays it because they don't know what it is. They don't want to spend their money on it. What it is not a moneymaker, and therefore Square Enix, who previously owned IO Interactive that makes it, is ditching the company. They're selling off all the IPs. They're basically dumping something that isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
What this did to the current Hitman franchise is it made it into, and for those that still don't know what it is that are listening to this, what it is a great Hitman simulator. It's you are a hitman. Your job is to go into an area and kill people. They're bad people, but it's a fun game for exploring the map. Like one map is a mansion, and your target is this rich guy that's doing bad things, and you have to figure out in a crowded area how you're going to kill him. And you can kill him in all kinds of different ways, right? So the way they released the latest game was the episodic content style.
God, I hate that.
It wasn't that bad, though. Like, I waited until the full game was released, which it was every month they released a new episode. And the episodes didn't cost any more than a full game either, overall. Like, 6 episodes, $10 an episode, $60 game. If you purchased it at the very beginning for $60, then you just got each episode as it was released. If you were like me and you waited until all of the things were released, then you got it all at once. They planned to do a season 2. Like more a whole new group of episodes, probably same basic price market, $10 an episode.
Mm-hmm.
But now there's doubt whether that will happen because Square Enix is dumping them.
Well, at very least, the people who made the game originally are just picking up and going as an independent company, though, right?
Well, that I guess. Like, I don't know the full story on that. But, like, if they're having trouble with the game anyway, how are they going to continue it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, 2 things. One, sometimes a fresh look on it, if it's just the independent guys doing it, it might actually work better. I've seen it. It could just be the fact that the big boys are just seeing something that's overly obvious and they're missing it completely. That's entirely possible. But, Rad, don't you have a little bit more information on this one? Because you always seem to be our information man, Rad.
Well, the big thing was that, everybody, as was mentioned earlier, people were concerned about what's going to happen to Hitman. Is it going to be like what happened with THQ, where all their assets are going to be sold off piecemeal to all these different other studios? Well, fortunately, IO Interactive has made the decision to go independent from a management buyout from their parent studio. And as part of the terms, of course, they get to keep the Hitman franchise and the Hitman IP to themselves. And people were concerned because their most recent Hitman game was episodic, as was mentioned, and that they promised at least 3 seasons. However, there's only ever been 1 season. So with this new development of them going independent, that means they can work on season 2 and season 3 without any outside pressure or meddling. So everybody should get what they paid for originally.
But then it comes down to, again, if the reason Square Enix is dumping IO Interactive is because they're not making any money off of them, how is IO Interactive going independent? Like, are we going to end up with them trying to kickstart season 2 and 3?
Going back
how
to good
are they going to
old-fashioned
do it?
Kickstarter.
Okay, are you sure? No, I think it's a good thing they went independent, because it's part of their cost cutting is you let go of staff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wasn't making enough money for Sony's Square Enix's liking. Because you can still make money, but you can have these studios say, "Well, you're not making enough money for us."
Greedy bastards. Honestly, that makes sense. I just put so much more faith in independent developers. Maybe it's just I've gotten so burnt out on AAA games that have disappointed me massively. Where I've gotten a shit ton of independent content creators and independent production teams that just blow me the fuck away. So maybe I'm just terrible, but I'm constantly going, well, maybe Hitman will actually be worthwhile this time, and maybe they'll learn how to properly promote it this time and how to properly sell it this time.
Well, for fans of the franchise, we all agree that this is the best Hitman they've ever produced. The last really great one was called Blood Money, and the previous games, because that's another thing. A lot of people don't even know there's been like 6 games in the franchise. The first game was kind of a third-person action game, but it was slow. Like, it was, it didn't have, it was literally slow. It was like, the pacing was slow, the actual actions were slow, because basically whoever was working on it, they kind of didn't know how to make things work faster or whatever. It was glitchy. They tried to do like a linear storyline that had you as a hitman trying to whatever you were trying to do. Mm-hmm. They weren't very good games. Then they did Hitman Blood Money. Now, Blood Money it had a very loose story. Like, it had cutscenes, right, in between each mission, but the missions themselves were self-contained. It was, here's a hotel, here's a target, figure out how to kill the target, there you go. Here's a suburban neighborhood, here's a target, figure out how to kill the target. Here's, that way of doing it was perfect. Everybody that was a fan of the franchise suddenly fell in love with it. Like, I didn't care about Hitman until I played Blood Money. Then I was a huge fan. Mm-hmm. Their next game went back to the story-based design, and it failed miserably. So when they released the new Hitman as basically Blood Money updated with much better physics, much faster gameplay, all of that stuff, it's perfect. And the problem is, it didn't make money, so they have to do, I'm hopeful, but I'm also worried.
Excuse me. Well, it's understandable. It's a franchise you actually enjoy and you don't want to see it go down the shitter for obvious reasons. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the story and I'm just shaking my head. Okay, all of us. Have the three of us here all played Final Fantasy X?
Yes.
No.
Red?
I have not.
I know of it.
Okay. In that case, Robbie, what was your favorite part of Final Fantasy X?
That laugh.
Ha ha! Your favorite part was Tidus's laugh. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your least favorite part of Final Fantasy X?
Waka. Fucking hate Waka.
Waka. Okay. How did Blitzball rank for you on that list of shit that you enjoyed?
Not high.
Would you go play Final Fantasy 14 if they implemented it? I'll go on the online game and buy it and buy your monthly subscription to play it?
I would actively avoid that.
That's the same thing I thought, because I've been wanting to go back to 14 for a while because it was a fun game. It's just I don't have enough time. I don't have money for the subscription. And now I have to buy yet another fucking expansion. It's just money I don't have, right? Yeah. They're trying to figure out how to add Blitzball into Final Fantasy 14. Now,
oh, great.
Who the fuck at Squeenix was going, you know what would really sell well, guys? That fucking game that people hated in our old game. We should bring that back. The people fucking hated it. It'll sell well.
I have to disagree with you there. There is a very large market of people that loved Blitzball.
Where?
Like that was their on the internet. You know, you can find them. It's kind of like the people that don't care about Final Fantasy VII or don't care about Final Fantasy IX. It's one of those things where it was their first Final Fantasy game or whatever, and there are entire like groups of people that they only play Final Fantasy X for Blitzball. Like they go in and that's all they do is play Blitzball, because you can go back and play it as often as you want.
Honestly, I've never met a person like that, ever. And I'm not being sarcastic, I'm being dead serious. I've never met a person like that.
They exist, so
there's also
I'm
people out there who
assuming,
masturbate to furry porn. That's all I'm saying. So obviously everybody exists, but
I'm just saying Square Enix has, if they can tap into a nostalgia and they want to drag some Final Fantasy X players into Final Fantasy 14, well, there you go. You throw something in that, for the fans of Final Fantasy X, here's a thing, you know.
Okay. So do you think it's strictly for a nostalgia factor?
Oh, it's got to be, because nobody that plays Final Fantasy 14 is clamoring for it.
Okay, well, that brings the question about of this. After the nostalgia factor wears off, everybody here, do you think they're going to stick around, or do you think they're just going to tell Final Fantasy 14 to fuck off?
They're the people that still play Final Fantasy X just to play Blitzball. So if they update, like they can't just convert it, right? They can't just take this and, you know, they have to update it. They have to give a reason for people to play it with a subscription. If they can do that, then yeah, they'll continue playing Final Fantasy 14 forever, because I get to play Blitzball.
I just can't imagine somebody going, you know what, we're going to buy this and pay a monthly fee when I could just use the same one that I'm obsessed with for free. Well,
okay,
not for free, but I've already paid a one-time fee.
Hold on, though. Yeah, I just thought of the reason. Because it'll be a team sport. Like the whole, like
True.
Blitzball is supposed to be a team sport, but it's just you and a bunch of AI. If they can make Blitzball into a real team sport, since it's an MMO, then all those Final Fantasy X people that do love Blitzball, they're going to love it even more, because they can form real teams.
You know what?
Yeah,
you just sold me.
I was just wondering about that, because I can picture that being A, yeah, you can get some really good teams, and B, a complete clusterfuck because all those other players are now being controlled by real people who will want to fuck with you.
Honestly, I could see it turn out good. I could see it being a new hot esport. I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being dead serious. This
That's actually
the day that becomes an esport, I don't know.
Robbie.exe has stopped working.
Esport is the day that Robbie goes speechless.
Rad, what were you going to say? I'm sorry, dude.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because they aren't technically sure how to add Blitzball into Final Fantasy XIV, but they have two ideas. Well, the story I was reading had two ideas, and one of them was what Casual just mentioned, is you make it like an actual team sport.
Mm-hmm.
The other way that might be considered is make it like you're a manager for a Blitzball team.
No,
I was actually going to bring that up and
awful.
ask if that would be worthwhile or not.
And so someone else had the idea of, well, why not both? You know, you could be a manager for if you're interested in the more sports side of thing, but you can also be a player too.
I don't know how those would work together. You know what I mean?
Well, it would be kind of similar to like a raid in WoW or something. You know, you do have guilds, somebody in charge, and all that stuff. I mean, that could be it. It could be like a different guild type of system.
I've never once seen a raid where the raid master was not there, though. That's the thing. But I do understand what you're trying to say, and I could see it working as long as they were able to separate, all right, this is the actual competition, real players playing it, and then you get to do it just like a little mini game that's on the side, and it's just, you get to watch your players play if you want, but it's all within your own little world, I guess.
Well, honestly, like having it set up kind of like a dungeon raid type thing would probably be the way they do it. You know, so not everybody has to do it. You know, you can, of course, if you're playing Final Fantasy 14, you're probably familiar with Blitzball, at least a little bit. So yeah, it's a very, you know, because, you know, you have good raids and raids where everybody's an idiot.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like a different type of raid almost.
I can't count the number of times doing LFR and WoW and just going, why are you standing? The fire does not get you a buff. Get out of the boom boom, god damn it.
Priests, please res. Tank, do your job. DPS, where are you?
Oh, God. I used to stream LFR, and that was the biggest mistake of my entire life. Oh, God.
Draw aggro, you idiots.
I still scream that to this day when I'm playing games that are not involved online. Oh, God. It's ingrained into me because of WoW, you bastards. But I do agree. It definitely has a future if you do it with the aspect of actual full teams and maybe going with the esports style of it. Or if you're doing your own little world and you're the manager of a team and maybe you can set up like teams that go against each other. But as long as it doesn't go past that, yeah, I could see that. Would be interesting.
It also kind of reminds me of that, I think it's that Fable card game. That's like really huge.
I don't remember any of that. I'm sorry.
I think you're talking about The Witcher.
Yeah, probably. Some game had like a little mini card game in it, and that everybody like loved to pieces.
Yeah, that was The Witcher.
And I think that's why people like Hearthstone was big, Gwent is big, Triple Trad was big. That was a Final Fantasy thing.
It was 8, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and they keep trying to, like, game developers keep trying to touch on that market, you know, and that's why we're getting this Elder Scrolls card game and this card game and that card game. You're too late to the party, guys. Been done.
Right, dude. I guess once again the whole rehashing of old content instead of creating something new bothers the shit out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would love to see what Squeenix could do with creating a new type of game, a new type of mini game in the game instead of just going, well, Blitzball, people liked it, bring it back. Just create something new. But I do understand, like you said, from the nostalgia factor, that is understandable. It totally makes sense.
Well, to be fair, they did create something new. I mean, they just, like you said, they launched an all new expansion. They actually overhauled the game. I'm actually playing it right now.
Are you playing as we're talking?
They did like a complete overhaul of a lot of issues that players were having. Like they are listening. One thing Square Enix is okay at is listening to the players' complaints. Like, for example, when Final Fantasy XIV came out initially, like the very first version, it was awful. It was like they learned nothing. They were living in a box for the years that MMOs had come out since 11, and they just released 11 with prettier graphics. People hated it. So after about 3 months or so, because it takes time to figure out things and learn that the people complaining aren't just complainers, they have a legitimate complaint, they shut down the game. And they spent an entire year rebuilding it from the ground up to what it is now. And that's why I think Blitzball could work, because obviously somebody wants Blitzball. So, you know, it's possible it could work if it's implemented right.
Very true.
It's just a matter of implementing it right.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we should probably wrap the podcast, but we have one last thing to talk about. I kind of didn't want to talk about it, but it's a Debbie Downer moment. Someone I grew up watching as a wrestler passed away. Dusty Rhodes, which you would remember him name. His real name was Virgil Runnels, but you would know him as Dusty Rhodes. Not Dustin Rose, which was the son, which is now, I think, Gold Dust or Stardust?
Gold Dust.
Okay.
I think there is Gold Dust and there is Stardust, but I think that's
those two are brothers. They're both.
They brought back Gold Dust? Wow, okay.
Yeah, I remember at one point in time, one of his sons went from Dusty Rhodes to become Gold Dust. And that one confused the shit out of me with that transition. I was like, really? Writers? That's the best you can come up with? Really? You have the son of one of the a legend of wrestling. You're going to go, you know what? We're going to have you act like a fairy and prance around. Which, okay, I do that on a daily basis. But Jesus Christ, man. But yeah. Dusty Rhodes, dead at 69 years old. What? Oh, for Christ's sake, 69. God damn it. I could tell you took over Robo Robbie.
I'll tell you something. When I first saw that Dusty Rhodes had died, I immediately thought of something that would that'll send me to hell.
What did you think of, Robbie?
I thought Dusty Rhodes versus a street sweeper. Dusty Rhodes lost.
God damn it. God damn it.
And this is where somebody says, too soon?
Fuck. You might remember him as his nickname, which was the American Dream. He was a member of the WWE Hall of Fame, held a whole bunch of NWA championships. He was, I think at the height of his popularity was about the late 70s to I would say late 80s was at the real height of his popularity. But I watched him until I was about, I want to say 14 years old is when I stopped watching wrestling, and he was done himself too. But yeah, awesome, amazing wrestler. One hell of a loss to the community. He mentored a lot of younger wrestlers, which you know of today, which is like Triple H, I believe is what his name is now. I don't think he lost that moniker. I think that's still
I think he's Triple H still.
Okay, so he's still that's still his moniker, Triple H, stuff like that. As you can tell, I've stopped watching wrestling a long time ago. I don't know any of their names now, but it's just sad. To the families of Dusty Rhodes, I'm terribly sorry. Your father, your family member was a hell of a legend in the wrestling community, and I grew up loving everything he did. And I hope the best for your family. Either way, guys, we have been the Odd Pod. I'm Stacy Kruger. Who are you guys?
I'm Robbie.
I'm Red.
I'm casually challenged.
And I think this is the saddest we've ever ended a podcast. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. You have been fantastic. We'll catch you next time.